traditional church and IHOP and all this history. But that's what he said. And then he said, but I wasn't quite clear, so I went down and just downstairs, or I don't know what he said. I went into this room and I have this red blanket hanging on a coat tree, and he said it was covered with dove feathers, just so he'd get it. Okay, so are you getting this picture?
Mm-hmm.
This is really cool because this means that all of us can sign up.
Yes.
Now here's mine. And I told Tony I gave no serious, this was early in my journey into wherever I've ended up. This is before I even knew what a prophet was, except theoretically. So I'm minding my own business. This is back on December 18th of 2006. This is pretty early in my journey into the supernatural. I'm sitting there with Papa, and I have a vision. Now, I'm not used to having visions, okay? You read about them in the Bible, and they stay nice and safely tucked in the Bible. So I'm having this, picture. It's a strong mental impression, uninvited by me. That's how I explain it to Church of Christ people. And I actually wrote it down. Now see if you can hear a little bit of similarity plus some elaboration on what Bob was saying. Vision as I pondered devastation all around and a broken, weak church. I was in the air, looking down on North American continent. And as I looked, I saw in the distance a violinist standing in the middle of the darkness and devastation. He was actually way up by Nova Scotia. At first, as I looked and saw the violinist, I thought that the violinist represented a weak and broken church, one that, like Nero, was fiddling while Rome burned. But I sensed you telling me to keep looking, and as I did, I realized that the violinist is you, Lord Jesus. Jesus is the violinist. And as you played, all around the darkness, your people began to listen to the music. And as they listened, their eyes were opened. They saw clearly what reality is and truth about the world and about you. Then as I watched around those who heard the music, I began to see golden light and life and fire and gold. And the lights began, you picture this, dark North American continent, and then there's these little people. I'm seeing two things at once. I'm seeing the dark continent, and I'm seeing people. I don't know how he does that, but I did, okay? So I'm seeing people wake up like they've been in a stupor. And as they wake up, they see reality, both about the world and about him. And as they wake up, fire, light, joy. And then this is the next part. The lights began to connect. And connect. And so, and all the time that this is happening, Jesus is playing the violin and he's getting louder and he's kind of dancing around. Think Georgia, okay?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you what the music sounded like. All I know is it became so overpowering that I finally had to stop. And I stepped out of the vision, as it were. But by then, the music was so strong. I mean, it wasn't loud, offensive music. It was so sweet and so inviting, like what we experienced tonight in worship. Did you sense that? You so wanted to be close to God that you couldn't stand it. That's what was happening. That's the next way. And it's also the key, it contains in it the key to how you catch it. Hunger, desire, willingness to let go, willing to connect with others, even some who may not do it quite like you do, but who are clearly filled with the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
You guys want that? The other key to all of this, and this is why the prophet has this, give this to you, is the most important thing for catching what God is doing is to never stop listening, to always be listening. And your preconceived notions about what God does and what revival looks like and renewal will shut down that part of your vocabulary.
Yes.
Your preconceptions about what God should or shouldn't do or can or will shut down that part of your hearing. So you can't say to God, this is what revival looks like. Now you can read the Bible and get a general idea. And you can always measure revival by fruit. Are people's lives being changed? Are communities being transformed? It's what drew me in. This church, I met people who actually manifested the fruit of the Spirit. Not as a checklist, but as fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.